Come here, Jonah. I'm trying to stick my in your ear hole. You bitch. Survivor mains, I feel like a wedge has been drawn between us as of late, because contrary to the way that most of this community treats the opposite role to their mains, I don't hate you guys. I don't think that you're bad people for inherently picking your role, and I don't think that you don't deserve to have as much fun as I wish I was having while I'm playing against your busted autopiloted bullshit. And as a matter of fact, all of the times that I've complained about certain perks being overpowered or pallets being absolutely fucking everywhere and the role just becoming a lot more brain dead as time goes on, it's not out of a hatred for you and not wanting you to have strong things. It's out of a hatred for the game for taking away the effort from your role, for the devs for not allowing you to use the brains that I know you possess. The game is in its best state when both sides are in a push and pull of strategy, technical and mechanical skill, and that is something that I hold very close to my heart. When I play Survivor, I love the kind of builds that allow you to do fun and interesting and engaging stuff while also being strong. I love how there is so much different varieties that you can do while looking the way that you want to look because of the inherent way that the Survivor role plays. I don't like the Survivor role for a myriad of reasons that I've listed in the past, but I don't hate you guys. And so I feel like far too many of my rants have been directed toward the stupid shit that Survivor mains that don't think about actual balance of the game and don't think about killer players as human beings behind the screen that they're looking at. I want to give you guys something. So I'm going to rant about a decision that has been lobbed by killer mains for literal years, a quote-unquote solution that I find not only distasteful as a killer main myself, but one that completely boils my blood for how stupid, lazy, and selfish the idea is. And that is, survivors shouldn't be allowed to run duplicate perks. This idea is one that I heard a long time ago. I mean, when I was still very brand new to the game, I saw a Reddit post where this person wrote a 9-paragraph post that was essentially just, I don't believe that if one survivor is running hyperfocus, another survivor should be able to run it. And they tried to pull out all of these examples, and they used a big words to make, they used a lot of big words to make them sound smarter than they actually were. And they tried to lay it out in this quote-unquote calm, collected way, but realistically, you could tell by the wording of the post, and I remember it vividly, that this person was just salty. They were salty because they lost to 4 Dead Hards, which was the screenshot they had attached. And this was back when Dead Hard did not require a hook to be activated. It was simply an exhaustion perk that was activated by you being injured. So you could use it multiple times a match, like a bunch of times, basically. It was stupid. Dead Hard used to be genuinely broken. I do believe that modern day Dead Hard is way healthier for the game. Even if there's 4 of them in the match, if you know that Dead Hard exists, it's a lot better to bait it out, and then once it's used, it's used. That's it until they get hooked again. It's only twice per match per survivor. I just think it's in a much better state. It's still a very strong, good perk that, you know, is fair. It's fair. It's strong, but fair. That's how I would describe it. And I remember when I first read this Reddit post as a brand new killer main of like less than 20 hours, I was like, man, this seems really bad, like a really bad idea. And as time's gone on, and I've seen this crop up over and over and over again, so much so that the reason this whole video exists is because I just read a comment on a YouTube video of another stupid person suggesting this stupid fucking idea, and I'm gonna read this comment for you now. The comment starts off by saying, "My solution is to allow survivors to not have the same perks." So of course I responded to them, telling them that this is a stupid idea. I'm not going to read my full response because we're going to go into all of it here pretty soon. But then they responded, and I will admit some of these are pretty new arguments, but we'll just go through it. I could see how you think that, but there are so many perks in the game that I genuinely don't see it as a problem. It would also circumvent the 3 hyperfocus stakeout or 4DS on all survivors. Stupid. I disagree. Harmful to solo queue. Perhaps. I don't see how it's harmed Swifts, though, in the manner of which you addressed it. How would that harm Swifts from playing with their friends? You can tell by the absolute stupid fucking structure of this asinine goddamn comment that this is a person who has not put any amount of thought into the players behind the role that they're talking about. This is very obviously, and I know it is, even if they try to tell me they're not down the road, because I'm not waiting for their response. I'm literally about to screenshot this, and then I'm not going to ban them yet, but I mean, if they're banned by the time this video comes out, then I ban people who are intellectually dishonest. Anyway, the point is that you can tell by this that they are a killer main who does not give a single shred of a shit how much fun the survivors are having. Now, I've never made a video on the my fun or your fun is not my responsibility, like, mentality that the community has, because I feel like the topic is so much more nuanced than a lot of people want to give it credit for. But when I say that they don't care about the survivors' fun, I'm not saying that, you know, oh, they tunnel and camp and slug and all this. I don't give a fuck about that, right? If you, yeah, it's not fun to be tunnel slugged and camped, but you know what else isn't fun? Losing 3 generators in 2.5 minutes because I didn't get to do any kind of pressure whatsoever. Like, that's also not fun. Sucks to be you, right? But the point is that at some point you have to relinquish the idea that the other side is just never allowed to have a good time. That the other side is just can't have anything and you have to have everything. You have to relinquish this idea that you just simply shouldn't care about the other side. Because as I keep telling entitled survivor mains in most of my videos, I'll tell entitled killer mains as well, the game doesn't fucking exist if the other fucking side doesn't get to play. If survivor players no longer have the ability to have fun in their role, if they no longer have the capability to have a good time, why the fuck would they play this game? Why the hell would you ever want to play a game in which picking a role would actively punish you? First problem with this idea, there's a myriad of problems, by the way. I'm not going to get to all of them. This video would be like 3 hours long. First problem that I have with this idea, first major one, is that solo queue survivors would get absolutely fucked. This person says, perhaps, but there is no perhaps. Solo queue survivors would get fucking railed by a change like this. Imagine you queue into a lobby, you're ready to go with your head-on vigil red herring flashbang build, I don't fucking know, and then some tryhard that's on your team that you randomly queued with is running vigil because they're running fixated sprint bursts. Now you, the person trying to run this fun little weird build, doesn't get to run the build. You now are out a perk in a build that you came up with because somebody else wanted to run it for a completely different build. On the flip side, let's say that you're doing an escape streak challenge, or you're doing something where like at least 3 of your teammates have to get out. So you want to run hyper focus stakeout with commodious toolboxes and, you know, all of this deja vu stuff. But then you queue in with like a baby Dwight of 10 hours and they're running deja vu because they just happen to have one of the general perks. Or you queue into a Rebecca doing her adept and she's got hyper focus. Now your build suffers because somebody else is running a build that's not as strong. Both of these scenarios cause massive amounts of frustration within players. It becomes aggravating at really the first instance, and you try and try and try again, but you keep getting your builds removed, not because all 4 perks are being used by someone else, but because someone else dared to play the game their way, because they chose to run one perk that you wanted to run. Also, how would a system like this even work in those instances? 2 people get paired in the lobby at the same time. Do their fucking perks just disappear and the first one to rush to the screen to click their perk back on is the one who gets it? Like, how would that even fucking work? The second problem I have with this idea is it destroys coordinated synergies between Swifts. I'm sorry, I know that a lot of killer mains just wish Swifts didn't exist for whatever fucking reason, but part of the fun of the survivor role is getting to play with coordinated teams. Why do the survivors now have to be inherently weakened because they chose to play with friends? And what if they're not even trying to run some stupid, like, 4 hyper-focused stakeouts with DS and Dead Hard or what the fuck ever, right? These super hyper-strong builds. What if they're just trying to do some funny shit like Gaslight the Killer, where all 4 survivors run Pebble? You know what I mean? All of a sudden, this survivor squad who was trying to have fun and meme around or whatever no longer gets to do that because you've implemented one of the worst goddamn ideas ever introduced into this fucking community. Or here's another scenario, right? Just off the top of my head. What if their Swift that you're going against is a duo, for example, and it's one guy teaching the other guy how to play? Now that duo is inherently weakened and they don't stand as much of a chance against you, less than they already did, because the other guy is new. He doesn't know how to loop yet. He doesn't know how to play the game yet, but now he doesn't get to run the strong perks that his friend told him to run because you can't understand the concept of balancing over deleting. And that's what this all boils down to. It's balance over, it is deleting over balance. The idea, quote unquote, the solution, quote unquote, to perk balance by removing the ability to duplicate perks within the survivor role is lazy. And I'll be honest with you, if it wasn't the survivor role, it'd be the exact kind of dumbass lazy shit I would expect from behavior. It's unintuitive, unimaginative, lazy, stupid, and most of all, it is selfish. Like I said, there's a myriad of reasons this idea doesn't work. There is so many reasons that this idea is dog shit. But most of all, it removes fun and creativity from the survivor side, and it removes the capability to balance things correctly. Why would we ever need to balance things when we could just get rid of them? There is a reason that so many people who set out to be game developers don't make it. It's because game development is hard. And as much as we shit on behavior, which they deserve a lot of the times, game balance is not easy. It's why I try my absolute hardest to never jump in and be like, guys, all you gotta do is this. There's a couple of times I've done it because a couple of times it seems like that's what the most obvious solution is. But again, there's always going to be things you don't think of. There's always going to be stuff that doesn't quite settle into what you're trying to do. And some people, unfortunately, just have these really, really shit ideas for how to, quote unquote, balance the game. Do you guys remember the 9.2.0 PTB? This was the PTB that made me quit for a year. It was a list of changes that were anti-everything. It punished the killer for playing the game. If the killer attempted to play the game, well, it punished them, and it was horrible. Most of them. 98% of the changes in that PTB were absolutely god-awful. And at the time that I read it, I said out loud, and I think I even said it in a video, that it read like a survivor main who just downloaded the game 3 days ago and really doesn't like getting tunneled. And that was their solution that they wrote up and posted on Reddit. The idea that survivors should not be able to run duplicate perks, that is also reminiscent of a killer main who downloaded this game 3 days ago and wrote up a solution on Reddit. There's one final thing I want to address in relation to the comment I read you earlier. They said that there's more than enough perks to where it, quote, wouldn't be an issue. I don't care if there's 1,000 perks, 10,000 perks on either side. This would never, ever be a good idea. Because the problems I mentioned have nothing to do with the amount of perks in the game, and everything to do with people's ability to play it. I often compare Dead by Daylight to a TCG, a trading card game, where the perks are your deck. That is your deck of 4 cards, and those cards allow you to play the game in a varying amount of ways that is absolutely 110% one of the best things about this game. It's the reason that one of my longtime viewers, VIP and channel member, I fucking call him stupid at least twice a month at this point because he keeps suggesting that we delete perks from the game and add the class system from 2v8. That would cause a mass exodus of people to leave the game, because what makes this game unique, what makes this game so fun for so many people, is the ability to run the build you want to run. The ability to put together the perks you want to put together and have a unique experience for yourself. Like, yeah, somebody probably already came up with the idea you did. Yes, somebody probably is running those perks as we speak. But when I say unique, I mean unique in the concept that you get to control how you play. You get to control whether or not you're going to be a medic, a tank, a rat, a gen rusher, a looper, whatever the case may be, through what you choose as the survivor role. Because at the end of the day, survivors have so much variety to them because of not only their massive amount of perks, but they're not weighed down by a power like killers are. I love the killer role. It's my favorite role for a reason. But you got to admit, sometimes I want to play Jason, but I want to run stuff that probably wouldn't work that well on him, and that actively hinders me. Survivors don't have to worry about that as much. Like, yeah, there's still weak perks and weak combos, but you get what I'm saying. The survivor role is the most diverse role for builds because the survivors aren't weighed down by a power. Taking that away from them because they chose to pick the survivor role, and even if you applied this to Swifts because they chose to play with their friends, is stupid. It's ignorant, it's lazy, and it's selfish. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you to all my channel members listed on screen now. If you want to find out how to become a channel member today, get awesome perks like seeing videos early, versus discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.